Video games and fantasy movies aren't real, so we look to lost worlds on Earth. These places are the closest we'll get to that fantasy in our lives. We all watch The Road to El Dorado and Atlantis: The Lost Empire and dream of visiting one day. But then we remember that those worlds aren't real. They are created from someone's imagination from thousands of years ago, passed down through the centuries to entertain us, right? Well, maybe. Truth be told, many of these legends believed to be nothing more than a fairy tale are actually real. Welcome back to Mega Luxury. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss amazing videos like this from us. These places are the closest we'll get to that fantasy in our lives, so take a look at these mysterious lost worlds that were left undiscovered for thousands of years. Number 10. Mount Roraima. We've all seen Avatar and fell in love with the mountains of Pandora, known as the Hallelujah Mountains. Well, we don't have literal floating mountains in our world, but what we do have is Mount Roraima, split into Tepui Roraima and Cerro Roraima. The highest point is nearly 10,000 feet high. The natives in the area in Venezuela believe the mountain is a stump of a mighty tree that once held all the fruits and vegetables in the world. That is until a big monster, Macunema the trickster, knocked it down and released a deadly flood of life. Very few have scaled the mountain because it is just so treacherous. Thankfully, a pathway has been installed to allow visitors to climb with ease, so it's just difficult to climb a mountain. Nope. It's hard to spot from above and below due to its location. Number 9. Xicheng City. Known as China's Atlantis or Lion City, Xicheng was simply forgotten. It spent thousands of years forgotten by China. How could this happen? Well, a long time ago the city was full of pristine white temples, lion sculptures, and life. That was until 1959 when for some reason the Chinese government thought it was pointless and wanted a hydroelectric power station. In order to build one where they wished, they filled up the city with water to build a lake. For 50 years, everyone knew of Qingdao Lake, but less than 150 feet under that lake was an ancient city that should have been preserved for mankind to admire. Whenever they did find it, they didn't retract the water. Instead, they left it underwater and allowed tourists to view it as it is. Believe me, it is quite the experience to don your snorkeling gear and touch the lions for yourself. Number 8. City of Thonis. Those well-versed in mythology know of this city. Thonis was an ancient Egyptian city located near the canopic mouth of the Nile. It was believed to be just that, a myth, until it was found thousands of years after it was mentioned by ancient Greek philosophers in the 12th century BC. How did it just stay hidden for so long? It's underwater, much like Atlantis is believed to be. Some called Thonis Heraklion due to the belief that Hercules stayed there at one point. Before him, Paris and Helen of Troy, daughter of Zeus, and the Queen of Sparta stayed there. It must have been a really nice resort. Or not, since Menelaus was the one that stranded them there, jealous that they found love. Since the city wasn't discovered until 2000, it makes you wonder what other cities that mythologists believe in are real. Arcadia? Or perhaps El Dorado? Number 7. Indus Valley. The Indus Valley Civilization, or Harappa, is known as one of the oldest standing in the world. It is likely 5,000 years old. In today's world, it's an extension of Afghanistan to Pakistan. It is one of the only 3 cities from the Old World, the others being Egypt and Mesopotamia. There's something strange about this city, though. It was abandoned thousands of years ago, and no one knows why. Perhaps the acidification of water coming from the Indus River. But could that cause 5 million, yes, 5 million people to flee? In the Old World, 5 million people was a lot. Even though it's thousands of years old, no one knew of it until the 1800s when another spoke of a city that stretched 25 miles across. Still, everyone refused to explore it until it was too late. By 2010, much of what was salvageable earlier had been flooded and ruined. And now we'll never know why a city twice the size of Houston was evacuated. Number 6. Sima Humboldt and Sima Martel. No, this isn't a new sister duo to rival the Kardashians. These are 2 sinkholes that can be found on Cerro Sarisarinama, a flat-top mountain range in Jawa Sarisarinama National Park, Venezuela. The natives say that an evil spirit lives in the caves on the mountain that devour human flesh, calling Sari. But that isn't the mysterious part, believe it or not. That would be Sima Humboldt and Sima Martel. Humboldt is over 1,000 feet deep and over 1,000 feet wide. Imagine a sinkhole that big appearing in town. Each sinkhole base has its own ecosystem, which is crazy. The weight of what this means isn't known to many. There's an entire forest, and in this forest there are creatures and other living things that need each other, but live independently from the outside world. A human could likely live in this sinkhole, but it isn't recommended. In fact, only scientists are allowed to descend into the protected territory. Number 5. Melville Range. Cape Melville is a piece of land found on the Cape York Peninsula in Australia. The range of this land is called Melville Range because the creatures on it are exclusive to the range and have survived for thousands of years there alone. It is considered one of the most amazing lost worlds on Earth. Its most unique feature is a field of granite boulders. Yes, that's much more expensive than a field of dandelion. They are there naturally to prevent fires from destroying the area. This is one of the reasons life has been sustained there so well. To retain life there, very few have been allowed to step onto the Melville Range. Number 4. Palawan Highlands. Palawan? This has to be out of a video game. Palawan is a province of the Philippines that is considered the most mysterious area in the world aside from the Bermuda Triangle. Some of the province wasn't even explored until 2007. This is when botanists found things that they had never knew existed, such as pink ferns, blue mushrooms, and a carnivorous pitcher plant big enough to devour large rodents or small monkeys. Much of what they found, though, they thought was extinct, but it was really just hiding in Palawan. It seems Merlin had visited and created purple crabs, lizards longer than the Komodo dragon, and pigs with beards. In the end, the most mysterious thing about Palawan is that it held things we never knew existed. Makes you wonder what else is hiding on our own planet that we're completely unaware of. Number 3. Catal Hoyak. Remember how Indus is like 5,000 years old? Well, Catal Hoyak is more like 10,000 years old. Located in modern-day Turkey, despite being 10,000 years old, it wasn't explored until 1958. But the Dorak affair got the leader of the excavation party banned from Turkey for good. Yikes. During his short stay, he discovered almost 20 layers of eras and technology. For example, imagine a stone tablet buried under an analog television, buried under a Walkman, buried under an iPod, buried under a Wi-Fi router, buried under the newest Android phone. This is what he found. Not electronics, but an evolution of ancient technology spanning over 2,000 years. It is believed that about 10,000 people lived here and worked together to sustain the life they had as a community. The dead were buried under the houses and they traded with each other rather than make money with the outside world. It is also believed to be the only old world that had an equal opportunity, equal income lifestyle. Number 2. Basavi Crater. Long ago in Papua New Guinea, a volcano known as the Basavi volcano lived on the Great Papuan Plateau. One day, the volcano collapsed out of thin air, leaving a crater in its wake. Today, rather than a dry volcano, a rainforest lives in its honor, showing that beauty can literally come from the ashes. Oddly enough, even though the volcano turned rainforest would seem unable to sustain life, it has over 40 unique animals found only there. It took until 2009 for people to touch that rainforest. They needed the indigenous people to guide them, people who had chosen to leave the area alone, fearing it was too dangerous. And it was. At times, the researchers had to spend weeks in the crater when helicopters were not allowed to access it due to the weather. One of the campers said it was so stinky and hot in there that they almost didn't make it. Number 1. Lake Vostok. Did you know that there are 400 lakes in Antarctica? Well, the largest of those lakes is Lake Vostok. It's at a place that's literally called Pole of Cold, beneath Russia's Vostok Station. Oddly enough, the station is 11,000 feet above sea level, but the lake is 13,000 feet under the surface of the ice at the station. It's less than 2,000 feet below sea level, but harder to reach than the bottom of the ocean. For nearly 500,000 years, it was left untouched, pure as white snow. In 2012, an ice core record was broken that reached 12,400 feet and finally pierced the surface of the frozen lake top. But it didn't last long. The lake's freezing water gushed out the hole and mixed with the antifreeze, meaning the hole froze up again. Most scientists believe there are creatures down there never before seen by humans living today, but to this day we haven't been able to explore. Well, what do you think of these lost places around the world? Any thoughts on this? If you enjoyed this video, then I'm sure you're going to love to watch our video about the 10 ancient invention techniques that we still can't quite reproduce, which was personally inaugurated by the Prince of Dubai on our channel. Make sure to click the subscribe button for the future notifications and never miss our videos. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Till then, stay tuned.